All right, class, welcome to part three of our series on teamwork, professionalism. Just to review, so far we have just covered, the basics of what a team is and how to actually accept responsibility for tasks in a given situation. But these last four, I'm going to kind of blow through relatively quickly because so far in this series, it's like over an hour already of videos that you've had to watch. So I'm going to try to make this quick and painless because I have not done that so far. So we're going to cover professionalism, maintaining positive relationships with your team members, with other people, how to use critical thinking skills and decision making, and using critical thinking to resolve conflicts, whether that's conflicts with a problem or with or interpersonal conflicts. So jumping right back into professionalism. Now, I tried to look up a nice definition of it, and I couldn't find one. I'm sure I could eventually look up some good quotes. Actually, there's one here about professionalism, but it has a very squishy definition. It's all just kind of the qualities related to being a professional. Now, and a professional is just someone that has expertise in a given area of work. So I would personally describe professionalism as just this kind of list of qualities that make you cool to work with. Somebody that you want to work with. And this quote by it looks like David Maister. Now I don't know who that is, but apparently he wrote a book on true professionalism. Well, I might have to look up a little bit about him. But he said that professional is not a label that you can give yourself. It is a description you hope others will apply to you. I really like this quote on professionalism because it's true. It's not, you can call yourself a professional if you want, but it doesn't actually mean anything unless other people describe you as being very professional. And so why this is important in the workplace, why professionalism is important is because it helps you in many areas. You know, your personal growth. It helps you be more satisfied with your job. But specifically for you all right now, it's important because it helps you be happier with your schoolwork. Helps mitigate conflicts and prevent them from ever happening, or when they do happen, which of course they still might disagreements. You know, being able to resolve them as quickly and as positively as possible. It gives you a sense of responsibility, creates an atmosphere of improvement. Both for yourself as in personal growth and for the people that you work with, and it helps create boundaries to where again going into increased satisfaction with your work. It helps create boundaries with other people so they understand how they should be interacting with you, because being and having a reputation for professionalism, uh, you know, if that's a term that others apply to you, that will just when people go to interact with you, they know to treat you with respect. The elements of professionalism: being respectful, having good etiquette, having good manners, being very respectful to other people, treating everybody equally, being positive, both giving yourself a positive outlook, being positive when you're talking with other people, not being negative about the work that you're doing or what you have to do. Always trying to find the bigger connection, whatever you're doing. That's all related to positivity. Being ethical, so avoiding those ethical lapses that we talked about before, giving yourself more problems and the people around you more problems because you haven't weighed all of the solutions to a given problem. Being the best, so doing everything you can to excel in your work, excelling at every level. That's how you build a great career. That's how you get straight A's. That's how you be successful. Being dependable, so keeping your promises, meeting your commitments, taking care of your responsibilities, learning from your mistakes when you make them, because you will, and that's okay, and taking responsibility for your own errors. And finally, being a team player, knowing how to contribute to a bigger cause, and just overall helping your team members, being a good leader, and setting a good example for the people that you're working with. That is all professionalism, and that is a lot to do. and you're not going to be the best at it right now, but you can start working on each of these areas. Being respectful, being positive is really easy, being ethical, and then kind of working on these other areas like figuring out how to be a better team player, figuring out how to be more dependable, by taking care of by practicing self-management and being the best. And that's actually just gaining experience in your area, gaining knowledge and skills and whatever you're interested in. So that was professionalism. Part of this, maintaining positive relationships. Again, these are all standards related to how you work with others in your team and how you will be assessed in class. And this was kind of a cool little thing here. Let me try to bring it up a little bit. So, if you want to flourish at school, at work, then you got to have confidence. You got to take care of yourself. You got to find some meaning in your work and foster positive relationships with others. And then when you are able to do all of this, and then you will be very very successful at your schoolwork. So that's kind of why this is important, because it connects to other things that allow you to be successful. And so, how you maintain positive relationships, I like this little breakdown here. Giving praise to others, always taking up every opportunity to compliment and recognize the work that others have put in. Being open to other people's ideas, offering others support when they need help, or when even when they don't ask for help, but you know that they could use some. Figuring out ways to politely give them that support, showing interest in others. This is even before you get to the praise part. Just showing an active interest, asking people questions, those that you're working with, being trustworthy, dependable. Being sticking to your word and following through with your commitments, interacting with others, showing interest, but also interacting with them, talking with them, validating. Recognizing that other people's ideas are important, and letting them know that you value what they have to say. Enjoyment, actually having fun doing what you're doing, is all part of being positive. And then relationships. So, taking enjoyment to the next level and actually having so much fun that you're kind of, work is play. You're just kind of playing around, toying around with ideas, doing cool things related to your interests, or in meeting the goals of your team or your own personal goals. Being respectful, empathizing with your team. So that's kind of that interest interaction. Being open is just kind of listening to others, and understanding where they're coming from. Listening is very key. Spending more time not talking and more time listening to what others have to say. Being accepting, teaching others the skills and knowledge that you have. Individualizing, so trying to, based on what you've heard from other people, kind of changing your behavior or what you say to meet them at their level, whatever that level may be, or their interests. Observing others is part of listening. Being non-judgmental is part of that openness. Understanding that everybody has their own backgrounds, experiences, their own beliefs and thoughts, and that they're not really, we're half shaped by our genes and the other by our experience, and nature versus nurture. And in this, we are not really in control of our own beliefs and opinions, and just being able to recognize that, and not judge other people or treat them any differently, for having those beliefs, opinions, backgrounds, etc. Sharing, so sharing what you know, sharing resources with others, helping others. Imitating others, imitating the good behaviors that your peers display. And being sensitive, understanding again that everybody has their own individual differences, and being accepting of that and accommodating to that. And that is how you maintain positive relationships with your peers, and just avoiding things that aren't any of these. Critical thinking, how to use that for decision making. Well, according to this, according to this, whenever you encounter a problem, you identify the nature of the problem, isolate the effective areas, or like who or what is involved here, what is going on with this problem, whether it's interpersonal again, or like a bigger more global problem. What has changed? What is different about this problem? Then identify what the sources of the problem may be. Figure out all your options for different solutions and prioritize them. Attempt to solve the problem and test that solution. Did it work? If it did, then cool. What were the consequences of that? And move on. Test it again. And if it works, cool. Test it again. If not, then make sure that you document why something didn't work and try to reprioritize your solutions based on that information. And with interpersonal conflicts, it's a little bit different, and maybe you're not documenting it, but for solving more global problems, you definitely need to document your work. And this is almost exactly the engineering design process that we're going to be learning about, but just engineering design process is maybe a little bit more formal. Uh, Now, finally, using critical thinking to resolve conflict, just thinking about who benefits from the conflict, who's it harmful to, who makes decisions about that conflict, who's in charge of what's going on, what are the strengths and weaknesses that people have, are there other perspectives besides your own or other alternatives, best and worst case scenarios for implementing different solutions or not doing anything at all. Trying to recognize where you've seen this problem before, what other people have done about it, what is acceptable in solving this problem. Why is this problem a thing? Why is this relevant? And you know, are there others that we can ask for help with this? What is similar to this problem? What has worked for others? As I said, and what do we know about the truth of this situation? Because a lot of the causes of conflict is just not having all the information necessary and making decisions before you have all that information. And how can this solution benefit us or harm us? And how do we just overall do what we can for others, and try to come up with the best solution? Typically, when resolving conflicts, there's five main methods. The first is directing, so focusing on yourself. Hey, we're doing this my way. It's my way or the highway, or let's just get the work done, and we'll worry about our relationship later. This is not so good for the team. Again, focusing on the relationship is low, so you're not really focusing on the team. You're just trying to get the work done, or not responding to others. So you want to avoid directing when resolving conflicts. Avoiding, pretending that the issue doesn't exist. So that is also not good because it's low focus on the relationship. High focus on the relationship is coming up with a win-win, so cooperating, making sure that everybody gets what they want, and then harmonizing, which is on the low end for agenda, but high on the relationship is saying, yeah, whatever you want to do, we'll do, and not, having essentially giving up your side of things in order to make things work. And then finally, compromising, which is in the middle, which is saying, hey, we need to get stuff done. We don't really want this to be a problem for much longer. We want a win-win, but that's not always possible. But everybody needs to have their opinions. Everybody has valid opinions and beliefs, so we're going to figure out a way to make this work, and that is what a compromise is. And like I said, this was me kind of blowing through these relatively quickly. Feel free to go back and re-watch those, and look at these resources that are available. And that pretty much covers it. So, hope you enjoyed.